Welcome back to the Dynastyers podcast. I am your host, your main man, your player partner, Darius Capers, but you also know me as Kung Fu Cape. Do me a favor before we get started. You see it scrolling at the bottom. Let's give us a follow on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at the Dynastyers podcast, man. That is where you will be able to see all of the shorts, all of the long forming content, all of these streams that we will give you all this football season. Please tap in with us as we're forever growing and forever thankful with, the support, the communication from you all back and forth. So, getting into the episode, like we said, man, the NFL season is just trudging along, man. We are already in week 5. Week 5, what a time to be alive, man. I love football, and it's just flying by, bro. And I feel like what better way to talk about the NFL season than to update you guys on the Dynastyers Podcast Fantasy Football League. I have to give you guys the update on 2026's league. We've been doing this for the last 2 to 3 years now. And to start off the quarter mark of the season, Henry's out in front, the last undefeated team in the league. There's no place like Mahomes, 4-0. He is followed in second place by Cameron Jackson, the Dom Mafia at 3-1. And I Stuff Dally is also tied at 3-1 with Corey as well, who is Get Your Popcorn Ready. So we got a three-way tie at second place at 3-1. Fifth place is Micah. He is and me at 2-1-1. Sixth place, we got Clavon Scott, 2-2. Seventh place, you got your boy, 1-2-1. Don't even ask me. Don't even ask me what happened. Joe Burrow's injury, that's affecting Jamar Chase. Rasheed Rice is still suspended. Trey Benson just got hurt. If you got more time, I'll update you, but you don't want to hear about my fantasy issues because I'm sure you've had those plus or maybe even worse ones. So I don't even, I don't need a pity party. I'm gonna come back and win my league. Don't worry about it. And then we got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-way tie for eighth place at 1-3 with Mo, aka for all the dogs, Norwood, aka Vegas Torta Lover, Alex, keep your head up, Nick, Baldwin's team, and Marcus's team. Give me that jump. So the league is looking competitive, man. Again, I said Henry's the only undefeated team left, but let's see what happens because one injury, two injuries can shake a whole league, shake your whole team. As I'm seeing, I've had about six of them. And I guess that's really a perfect segue into just what's been going on in the NFL, man. Injuries are mounting, bro. This past weekend, we saw Lamar go down with a hamstring injury. We lost Malik Neighbors to an ACL injury, and then we saw Tyreek Hill's scary knee injury. And so we're hoping all three of those guys will be able to get back at some point in the future and play the game that we see them dominate all the time. And those are just three names, not even mentioning the offensive linemen, the Joe Alts that we've lost, not even mentioning the guys like the Austin Ecklers who lost this season to an Achilles injury, the Najee Harris who lost his season to an Achilles injury. That's not to say these other guys that have also had injuries, man. It's just been too many. Again, I mentioned Joe Burrow. Brock Purdy's just trying to work his way back from his backup. Mac Jones had his own knee injury. I mean, that 49ers team, I could just do a whole segment on that 49ers team because I didn't even mention Kittle's hamstring. I didn't even mention Jawan Jennings' injuries. I didn't mention Ricky Pearsall's injuries. It's just so many injuries right now. But I'm glad to see a guy like, Brock Purdy gut it out and come back and try to play. I'm glad to see a guy like Xavier Worthy, who dislocated his shoulder 3 plays in, come back and have a great game this past week. So I'm just glad to see some of the guys getting healthy, although we're losing a lot of stars. And I'm hoping all the stars we're losing to injuries right now can get healthy soon. We'd love to see you guys on the field. Kind of pivoting from the negative from last week, let's look at some positive. Look at some of the good games. And what better place to start than Micah Parsons' return to Dallas? Oh, man, this was the game of the week last week, and probably one of the games of the year, if I'm being completely transparent. 40-40 tie. I don't think we'll see a game this high scoring, an 80 combined score game. I don't think we'll see another one of those. I think this is the second highest tied football game in NFL history. So this is uncharted waters. I mean, Dak Prescott showed that he's truly a top 10 quarterback in this league, a quarterback that you can win with without CeeDee Lamb. His $100 million receiver, he still made the offense look good. He still was able to put up 40 points on a top 10 defense, which is kind of what everybody thought. A Super Bowl caliber team, which is kind of what everybody gave them, kind of what everybody crowned them as already. And we wrote Dallas off. And Dallas showed us that they're not going to be a pushover this season. And with that draft capital that they have going forward, it'll be interesting to see what they do, man. It'll be very interesting to see what they do. Oh man, there's a couple other games that happened that were just not close. You got the Lions blowing out the Browns. You got the Panthers pretty much getting papped out by the Patriots. I wish I would have mentioned them when they shut out the Falcons. Apologies for the state of Carolina, but had to mention it here. Then you got the close games, man. You got the Steelers and Vikings in Dublin. That was an amazing game. That was worth being up at 9 a.m. to see. Got the Falcons Commanders that came down to a last possible drive with the Commanders getting stopped. That was a good game. You got a game like the Chargers, who the Giants defense stood on their head on that last possession to stop the Chargers from going down to get points and getting Jackson Dart his first victory in the NFL. Like, that was amazing, bro. That was amazing. It was an amazing week of football, and it was all low lighted by my New York Jets being incompetent on the offensive side of the football. And the Monday night slate was terrible, bro. Like, you'll look and see the Dolphins and the Jets score of 27-21, and you'll think it was that close, but it really wasn't that close, bro. Take it from somebody who saw the game. It wasn't that close. And you can argue the Bengals Broncos game was closer. I'm not going to go that far, but it's just tough to see, bro, because as a Jets fan, and again, I'm not going to spend too much time on my Jets. I feel like I've spent too much time already, but not being able to move the ball, bro, it's tough. It's very tough. They look like a high school offense at times. And so the last thing I'll say about my Jets, there was two paths that they could have went, bro. I could have saw us being a 7-10 competitive team that nobody wants to play, that probably into the last 4 weeks of the season was competing for a playoff spot. Then you got the situation on the left hand that we're seeing right now. The Jets are a terrible team, probably a 3-14 ball club, 4-13 ball club. Justin Fields just can't uplift middling receivers and Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson's elite, but middling everywhere else. And we're looking at Aaron Glenn and Justin Fields potentially on the chopping block after 1 year. And I could definitely see a world where the Jets consider moving on from both at the end of this season. And that's unfortunate, bro. It's very unfortunate. And it's more unfortunate for a lot of reasons that you think. It's not just because of the talent of Justin Fields and Aaron Glenn as a coach, because they're both talented at what they do, but it's also because this is a bad year to need quarterbacks. And I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. That kind of segues perfectly into my next topic that I want to discuss with y'all. This is a bad bad year to need quarterbacks, in my opinion, bro. And I'm gonna just be honest with you. Like looking at college football, bro, and I heard Johnny Manziel say this, and it really hit home, bro, because I'm a college football fan first. And I loved seeing guys in college and kind of thinking, how would that translate to the NFL? And I'm gonna be real with you, bro. There's nobody in college football right now that I see that their skill set translates like perfectly, seamlessly to the next level at the quarterback position. I hear people pushing Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana. And bro, that play that he did at the end of his game, I just he took a snap and ran back to the end zone and then slid out the end zone to take the safety. But just imagine if worst case scenario would have happened and he fumbled that football. Just unnecessary risk. I always thought playing the quarterback position was mitigating risk. Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time because he mitigated risk. Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, these guys are the great of the great quarterbacks because they didn't turn the ball over and they mitigated risk. Fernando Mendoza, I know they're pushing you to be the first overall pick, bro. But if I'm as a Jets fan, bro, if we need a quarterback, I pray we don't draft him, bro. And that's not to say that he doesn't. I hope he doesn't do well. I just don't want us to draft him, bro. I don't think he's going to be that guy. I'm sorry. There's a couple younger quarterbacks that have really caught my eyes that I think could be something in the future. I know Jaden Mayaba, the junior from USC. He's kind of on the younger side as a junior. He has one more year of eligibility. I'd like to see him come back, see what he does next year. A guy like CJ Carr from Notre Dame, he's a true freshman. I would love to see what he looks like in the next 2 years when he could be draft eligible. I mean, that there's a few guys that I like. I mean, at this point, let's look at a guy like Diego Paiva. He's at Vanderbilt and he's one of the top throwers in the nation. I mean, and that's just me kind of being tongue in cheek, but let's look at some of these younger guys. I don't think any draft eligible guys are really that good. I know Dante Morris, he just played well against Penn State. And so he, as a sophomore, is a guy people are pushing. Let's see what he looks like in the next year or two when he becomes draft eligible. A guy that I'm a big fan of, a guy that's not getting a lot of push. Ty Simpson for Bama. He's starting to show that he can develop and play those big games. He had a big game against Georgia. Let's see what he looks like next year. I'd like to see him come back. I just, although these guys are juniors, though, I don't know. Another name, Julian Saying from Ohio State. Has he been great? No, but let's see how he develops. I don't know, bro. I don't think these guys that are draft eligible this year, though, are that good. I don't, bro. I feel like this is a tough year to need a quarterback. The main guys for me looking forward is the Bryce Underwood draft, the Dylan Raiola, Darian Mensah from Duke. I've been big on Darian Mensah from Duke already. He's had back-to-back big throwing weeks. That's a name that we need to keep on the radar. He's a sophomore right now. Within the next year or two, is the draft class for quarterbacks. This Garrett Nussmeier draft, I don't believe in Garrett Nussmeier as an NFL prospect. He's a little smaller. He he reminds me, if I had to put Nussmeier if I had to compare somebody to Nussmeier, maybe a Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is a good name. Nussmeier doesn't mind putting the ball in harm's way. He doesn't mind being reckless with the ball. He's going to try to make those throws for better and for worse. If he gets in the right situation, that could be perfect, but he's not going to be the perfect quarterback for every situation, if that makes sense. I'm telling you guys, man, this year is a terrible year to need quarterbacks. So next year, the year after, these sophomore kids that are cooking right now, these junior kids that are at big programs playing high level football that are cooking right now. Let's get them one more year. Let's see what next year and the year after's quarterback class look like. Because I'm telling you now, the next year's quarterback potential class with all of these sophomores, the Dylan Rayolas, the Darian Mensahs, the 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 Dante, come on, man. That could be a super quarterback class. And then the Dylan Mayavas being in there, the Gunnar Stocktons possibly being in there. That could be a six quarterback. And I'm not even mentioning my man from South Carolina. So if we throw him in there, come on, man. Next few years, the next year or two, that could be the quarterback class to go for, bro. That could be the quarterback class that turns around a lot of NFL teams, bro. And I'll be honest with you. Speaking of NFL teams and young quarterbacks, let's check in at the quarter mark of the NFL season on our rookie quarterbacks because this is actually a really good time to do it now that I think about it. Because for all you guys that know, and this was breaking news today, Dylan Gabriel's officially been named the Cleveland Browns starting quarterback for this week 5. And man, what's a tougher way to have your first NFL start than in London against the Vikings defense who just lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers and probably are ready to get back home. I feel like the Vikings are going to come out and they're going to try and prove a point. I really think the Vikings defense is going to prove a point. And I think depending on the game script, the game plan that Stefanski comes up with for Dylan Gabriel, I don't know. I think he'll try to take the ball out of his hands, easy throws, quick throws, run the football, probably two tight end sets, trust Fanning and trust Njoku a lot. But it could get bad, bro. It could get bad. But yeah, that's kind of our check in on the Browns quarterback situation, man. Shador Sanders still QB3, man. I don't know what a brother got to do to get a chance to be QB2 at least. But hey, hopefully soon, hopefully soon he gets his opportunity. Uh Jackson Dart won his first start in week 4, got a dub against the Chargers. So I mean, then again, the Chargers were considered a pretty tough defense before Jackson Dart came and did what he did and got a dub. So maybe they're thinking Dylan Gabriel can have a similar situation, similar. It's not bad. That's not a bad hope. Uh yeah. Hmm. Only really other quarterback that's played meaningful snaps is Cam Ward. And Cam Ward said the other day, this is a family friendly program, so I'm not going to quote him word for word, bar for bar. But he said, I ain't gonna lie, we're not very good right now, man. And I agree with him. They're not very good. The offense has been pedestrian, to say the least. I believe they've scored, what, 3 offensive touchdowns this year? Cam Ward's thrown 2, and Tony Pollard has 1 rushing touchdown. Yeah, so they've scored 3 offensive touchdowns so far in 4 games. Cam Ward, I mean, he's completing a little more than 50% of his throws. 600 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, has another 42 on the ground. I mean, he hasn't got a lot of help. What can we say? I mean, his number 1 receiver is a rookie, Elick Aomanor. That was one of the guys I've found on waivers. Shout out to me in fantasy. But that's his number 1 receiver, man. Calvin Ridley was supposed to be his guy, and I mean, how great has Calvin really been? He hasn't been great at all. I'll answer it for you. I mean, after that, Tyler Lockett was a guy they brought in, and he just can't seem to get on the same page with Cam Ward. I mean, Van Jefferson's there. And then listen to these names I'm saying, though, bro. In 2025, I said Calvin Ridley. I said Tyler Lockett. I said Van Jefferson. Like, these are the names that the number one overall pick is having to try to elevate in a kind of looking tough division with the Jags and the Texans. I mean, and the Colts now. Oh my goodness, this is a tough division now. So I cut him some slack, man. I cut him a lot of slack. I feel like we need to get him maybe another head coach. Do we need to get him a better guy in his ear? Maybe. Do we need to get him some more weapons? 1,000%. Um, we got to do better for Cam Ward, man. We have to. And if we're looking at any of the other I can't even say starting quarterbacks, any of the rookie quarterbacks, Tyler Shuck hasn't played meaningful minutes with the Saints. Looks like Spencer Rattler is a competent NFL quarterback. Maybe not very good. Similar situation because of the talent around him. Kamara might not be the guy we thought he was anymore. Maybe he's aged, but doesn't look like Tyler Shuck's going to get any meaningful minutes. Doesn't look like Will Howard's going to get any meaningful minutes in Pittsburgh. Aaron is looking like he's turning back the clock. Doesn't really look like I know the Vikings brought in Max, the Minnesota rookie undrafted kid to play snaps, but those weren't meaningful. I mean, I don't really think any other rookie quarterback's going to see meaningful snaps. So I guess we'll check back in with the rookie quarterbacks maybe at the halfway mark of the year. Hopefully Cam Ward has another win. Hopefully Cam Ward has a win because he's 0-4 right now. Hopefully Jackson Dart strings together a couple wins. Although we lost his number one guy, hopefully Dylan Gabriel or Shador Sanders is showing the Browns competency at the quarterback spot. I mean, yeah, hopefully some of these young guys get a chance to show what they have, man, show what they can do because again, a lot of these young a lot of these teams that need young quarterbacks are hoping that the guys they have work. Trust me, they're seeing what I see with this NFL projected quarterback class coming up. They're seeing what I see. Pivoting to around the sports world, man, what better place to stop when looking around the sports world than in the NBA in the Major League Baseball? We're going to stop in the NBA quickly because over the last day or two, it was media day, man. NBA media day tells me in October tells me that the NBA season is right around the corner. And man, oh man, I am hype. I'm a Boston Celtics guy. If you know me, I've been a Boston Celtics guy for a while now. And I'm excited to see what we have in terms of team this upcoming season. There's a potential that Jason Tatum can return. And although I'm not excited about him returning too early if he's not ready to go, if he's ready to go, and if we have which I think we will have a pretty solid rotation. I think we can compete in the East. The East is wide open. So let's see what Jason Tatum has. Yeah, man, I think that's very interesting. But a lot of teams look a lot different, bro. A lot of old heads changed teams this offseason, man. Russ is still waiting to sign. Chris Paul's pretty much doing his retirement tour back in LAC. Man, Luca and LeBron. I think that'll be the Lakers are going to be a good team. I really think they will. I mean, I'm curious, bro. I'm truly curious. this is probably one of the most wide open seasons at the beginning to start the NBA that we had outlook. Like, and let's look at it. I didn't even mention a team like the Mavericks, who just had the first overall pick, Cooper Flag, my boy from Duke. Huge, like, come on. You know how I feel about Duke. And now he's playing with Kyrie, Anthony Davis, Klay Thompson in Dallas. That Dallas team could be insane. We're not even talking about the Spurs. They're saying Wimby might be 7-11 now. And De'Aaron Fox with Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper. And they had an amazing draft. Carter Bryant. They had one of my favorite drafts out of anybody. A team like the Atlanta Hawks, who added Porzingis. Trae Young is one of the most underrated players in the league. The East being wide open with the Pacers being injured, Halliburton having his injuries recovering from, Celtics essentially having injuries they're recovering from, the Knicks probably being the favorites in the East. It's so many storylines to look at. Will the Sixers be healthy? Because I think if the Sixers are healthy, in my opinion, I'm saying it here first, I want to get it on Dynastyers podcast film. If Joel Embiid is healthy and if he's as good as he looks, because I have to say that it's a caveat, with Joel Embiid, he kind of fall in that Zion category. If it's as good as it looks, the Sixers are coming out of the East. You've heard it here first. Because VJ Edgecombe, rookie of the year, calling it here. Sixers are my sleeper team, bro. So, yes, the NBA Media Day, I love it. I love it. I love it. It just opens up the door for a lot of questions and a lot of speculation for what will happen. I just hope we get a lot of healthy basketball, man. I'm tired of seeing injuries in our professional sports with our professional athletes, and I pray that they're able to stay healthy for a good portion, if not all of this NBA season. And like I said, boom, we also got to take a stop in the MLB. This is wild card series weekend, or pretty much, wild card series time. The Dodgers have moved on. They swept the Reds in the wild card. The Yankees tied up the series against the Red Sox 2-2. The Padres tied up the series with the Cubs 2-2. And the Guardians tied up the series with the Tigers. Well, I said 2-2. 1-1 in game two, and it's a best of three. Excuse me. They have to win two. I'm thinking two because the Dodgers won two, and you have to win two in the wild card. I apologize. The series are tied. Yankees, Red Sox 1-1, Padres, Cubs 1-1, Tigers, Guardians 1-1 because the respective teams won game two. So they have to win the game three to move on to the next round. Game threes will take place Thursday, October 2nd. So that'll be interesting to see who goes on. And man, if the Yankees lose, I'm pretty sure this will be considered a letdown because there was a stat that in the last, 11 playoff games versus the Red Sox are like 9-2 now, 9-2 because the Yankees just won. So that'll be interesting to see how that happens. But yeah, playoff bracket set, man. It looks pretty interesting. I'm not a huge pundit of baseball knowledge to feel like I can just predict who's going to win. But I will say I wouldn't be against another Dodgers Yankees World Series. I'm just putting that out there as well. That's my prediction now. Not knowing much about baseball, I'm a baseball novice, as you'd say. Yankees Dodgers is my prediction. I'm not if the bats get if the hitters get hot, that's gonna be, what I'm saying. Those are the two best hitting lineups probably in baseball from what I understand of baseball. So that's probably my prediction for that as well. Last thing that I want to talk about, man, is the bet of the week. And I do want to let y'all know, man, that I have been cashing. I hope y'all, again, this is why I need to tell you guys yet again, tap in with me on Instagram, tap in with me on TikTok, tap in with me on YouTube at the Dynastyers podcast, because I don't always get a chance to record the long form content. I'm going to do a better job of recording these long form videos for you all, those that watch. But I like to record shorts via YouTube, via TikTok, post TikTok videos, and I give free plays. And bet of the week can also be fantasy football play of the week if you want to go with it that way. And I believe week 2 I cashed. Week 2 I went with week 3 I went with Dalton Kincaid. Week 4 I went with Khalil Shakir. And week 2 I also went with another tight end. I went with Tucker Craft. I've only been doing it 3 weeks. I didn't do it week 1. I tried to give myself week 1, see how stuff gonna be. Week 2 I went Tucker Craft, cashed on his touchdown, cashed on that fantasy football play. Week 3 I went Dalton Kincaid, cashed on his touchdown, cashed on his fantasy football play, had a big game. Week 4 I went Khalil Shakir with the Bills as well, had a big fantasy day, and also got his touchdown. So week five, what a time to be alive, man. If I have a play for y'all, oh man, Thursday game. I don't like to pull my plays from Thursday because Thursday games it's a short week. Sometimes they like to lean on the running game, and with it being San Fran and LA, I could see big games out of Kyron and Christian McCaffrey, especially with Brock Purdy not playing. So I think I'm going to stay away from this game. The tight end position has been good to me. I'm not going to lie to you. Part of me wants to stick with the tight end plays, but I think I'm going to divvy away from the tight end plays a little bit. One of the plays I like, I think Quinshawn Judkins' attempts could be something to look at again with Dylan Gabriel starting. Dylan Gabriel is going to be turning around, handing the ball off to Quinshawn Judkins a lot. Let's look at Dylan Sampson's rushing yards as well. That could also be a play. I'm not getting the total now on Prize Picks, but if we're looking at a touchdown score, because that's kind of what I've been giving, who finds the box, I'm going to go with Michael Pittman versus the Las Vegas Raiders. I think the Indiana Colts or Indianapolis Colts, excuse me. I'm thinking basketball as well. I think the Indianapolis Colts will bounce back in a major way against the Raiders. Daniel Jones has been throwing the football really, really efficiently. I think that he actually has a bounce back against the Raiders, and I think Michael Pittman finds the box. So let's see if I can keep my touchdown streak going of 4 straight weeks. Again, Tucker Craft week 2, Donkey K week 3, Khalil Shakir week 4, week 5, I'm going Michael Pittman Jr. versus the Raiders. So let's see if he gets in the box and keeps my better streak going. And matter of fact, just play him in fantasy too. I think he's going to get a lot of targets. He's been really efficient with Daniel Jones this year. If you've been watching the Colts offense, he's been really efficient. That's my player slash play slash fantasy play slash bet of the week. Oh man, man, man. And now we're coming to the end of another great episode of the Dynastyers podcast. Again, man, week 5, what a time to be alive has been the episode title. I love how that sounds. Man, oh man, I've been away from you guys for a couple weeks now, and I promise I'm going to get more consistent, trying to get everything together so I can be more consistent with you guys. But words of wisdom for me, man. I'm just going to say this because this is for me, and I don't know who else out there needs to hear this, but I'll tell you this. You're doing okay. You're doing good, bro. You might not be doing perfect. You might not be, in that mansion yet. You might not be your own boss yet. You might not be where you envisioned yourself being at this age or this stage or, this page of your book. But your book is still being written, bro. Your book still got so many pages left in it. And this is really for me as well, because I'm trying to tell you guys, it's a grind, bro. It's a grind. And the main thing is just keep grinding. Keep grinding. One foot in front of the other. And if you keep doing that, bro, eventually you're going to keep stepping and then you're going to get to that finish line, bro. When you get to the finish line, you're going to look back at this time when you was up at 5 in the morning when everybody was asleep and you was recording and you was working. And you're going to say, yes, it was worth it. So I appreciate you guys, man. If you made it this part in the video, man, you are the real deal, bro. Oh my gosh. Yes. Week 5 is here, and I'm going to try to, again, get more of these long forming videos recorded for you guys because I like to talk with y'all. And I like y'all hearing what I have to say. And I appreciate when y'all agree with me. I appreciate when y'all disagree. Y'all give me perspectives that I don't always think about. And so, yeah, man, again, this is the end of a great episode of the Dynastyers podcast. And I have been your host, Darius Capers, Jets fan, Duke fan. You know me, North Carolina native. And this is the end of the video. If you made it to this point in the video, you're the real MVP. You're the champion. Tap in with us on YouTube. Tap in with us on TikTok. Tap in with us on Instagram at the Dynastyers podcast, please, bro, so you don't miss whatever we got going on, so you don't miss the stuff that I post. And until next time, peace. What's good, party people? It's your boy, Kung Fu Kate, a quarter of the Dynastyers podcast. If you made it to this part of the video, you're the real MVP. You're the champion. But to make sure you keep repeating this champion, you gotta give us a sub. Give us a sub on the YouTube channel at the Dynastyers Podcast. Give us a follow on Instagram at the Dynastyers Podcast. We post a lot of important information. A lot of key dates are coming up soon. Dates that you don't want to miss. So go ahead and sub and follow so you can stay abreast of what we got going on. You don't want to miss it.